So for my speech, I wanted to talk about issues that are related to student athletes at the college level. So I want to start with painting a picture. Let's say you just graduate high school, you're excited and looking forward to playing in college, the sport that you love. You have high expectations, you think the team is great, the coach loves you, and that nothing can go wrong. And then after your first semester or your first season, things don't go how you thought they were going to go. You may not have played as much, the adjustment was very hard for you, the coaches were a little bit, they're not what you thought they were going to be, and you kind of become this version, this kind of shadow of yourself. And so I wanted to look at the visual aid and statistics from freshman student athletes at the Division III level. The statistics are from NCAA, and they said that 1 in 3 student athletes suffer from mental woes at the Division III level. And this is a high rate considering there's almost 200,000 Division III student athletes worldwide. And so I think that this is a topic that needs to be discussed more. And so throughout the speech, I hope to bring the student athletes' attention to how they view their own self, as well as how they are actively using their free time to their benefit. We will look at how their mental state and choices in their leisure time and make adjustments towards that to benefit their performance. So why is this a need? So one of the big things that comes up when it comes to student athletes is sports performance identity. Sports performance identity is basing off your mood and all your self-worth into your sport, that your sport is your self-worth, and how well you perform is how you feel about yourself. And this can negatively impact student athletes because let's say you are able to accomplish something, it becomes more of a sigh of relief than pure joy about what you actually have done, since you just take a break that you're supposed to, in that, okay, so you think once you accomplish something, you are able to you just kind of take a deep breath and kind of just like, I was supposed to do that, so you don't really take in what exactly you did. And the NCAA reported that there's 30% of student athletes have sports performance identity, which is a very high number. They also came out with a statistic that 15% of student athletes drop out during college and do not continue their degrees, which I also think is a very high number and why this needs to be addressed. And that if we allow these things to continue, that the well-being of the student athlete will continue to suffer, and this will negatively impact their life in many different aspects. So how do we satisfy these problems? So the first one that I wanted to talk about is better self-talk when it comes to communicating with yourself. Creating better self-talk leads to positive environments, not only within yourself, but as a collective group. It leads to success with stress and conflicts. And so an article from Healthline.com also had statistics that showed people with positive self-talk have created better skills to coping with stress and anxiety and hardship. And then the next part I wanted to talk about is this creating healthy outlets outside of your sport. And this is such as hobbies, such as reading, writing, painting, going for a walk, going for something that detaches you from your sport. And a blog post from some lady that she shared her experiences, and this was more related to just a job, not really a sport. And she said that with these hobbies and being able to detach her leisure time and her job, that she was able to concentrate not only in her hobbies but also at work and feel more energized at work, and that her work is not consuming into her personal life as well. And I think that these two big ideas are very important when it comes to student athletes, and being able to juggle both athletics, schooling, and all these different, and your personal life is very important, and that taking these steps will help you further on. And so some of the objections that people say is that this may seem like too much work, and is the benefit really worth it? And I think later on I'll talk about, but these are creating basic fundamental skills of problem solving and dealing with stress and having to deal with these problems that you're going to face in life, and that there's way too many possibilities and positives from working on this, that you need to work on this. So building off of that, these skills are not just applicable in sports, but they're also applicable in life and at your job, and that you will be confronted with hardship, with problems and stress, and that having positive self-talk and these skills built into you, you can work on dealing with the stress and dealing with these problems much better than someone who does not. And that without this, I feel like you will live it wasn't as fulfilling life. You don't feel like there's as much a sense of purpose. You may not have much as passion towards your life, your job, and your personal life, and the people within there. And that it does take some work, but at the end of the day, I feel that it's worth it. And so, after all this, now is time to take action. So the first step into this is reflecting on yourself about how well you are with your self-talk and how well are you detaching from your sport. Is your sport consuming your personal life? Do you not do things that you used to do? Do you not hang out with friends? Do you spend more time at your sport? You don't hang out with family. There's things that you've always wanted to do but you've never been able to because of your sport. And it takes that reflection of seeing that I do have a problem with this and being accountable for it. And then with self-talk, it kind of is one of those things that you have to build off of, and that you have to recognize when you have these problems, recognize that, okay, I made a mistake, and that you have to move on from that. And it just takes each time just recognizing that you have that negative self-talk, recognize it, and move on from it. And that I want also people to realize that many people go through these struggles, and it's not just you, and that recognizing your troubles and learning from them is the most important part. And a quote that I wanted to end this on is that at the end of the day, it is just a sport. Win or lose, life will go on. And this just shows the importance, taking a step back from your sport and realizing there is a bigger picture to it, and that sports may seem like it is your whole life, but there's many more things of life that are much more important than sports.